If someone had told me a year ago that my own brother would be the reason my world collapsed, I would have laughed. Liam Walker wasn't perfect, far from it, but he was still my brother. The guy I grew up admiring. The one who taught me how to ride a bike, how to throw a football, how to talk to girls without sounding like an idiot. He wasn't just family, he was my role model. And that's why the betrayal hit like a knife straight through the ribs. That evening started like any normal one. Our house in Cedar Heights was quiet, washed in the orange glow of a lazy sunset. Mom was out working her evening shift at the clinic. Dad wouldn't be home for hours. Liam had just come back from basketball practice, sweaty and tired, headphones hanging around his neck. I was sitting at the dining table, textbooks open but my mind far away, thinking about Ava. Ava Brooks. My girlfriend of almost a year. Sweet, funny, a little dramatic, but she made me feel seen. At least, that's what I thought back then. I tapped my pen against the table, staring at my phone. She hadn't replied for 3 hours. Ava never ignored me like that. She always texted back fast, even when she was busy. But recently, something had changed. Something small at first. Something I ignored because love makes you blind in all the worst ways. Liam walked past me, tossing his gym bag onto the floor. "You good, Ethan?" he asked casually, grabbing a water bottle from the fridge. "Yeah," I said, not looking up. He studied me for a second. "You look like you're about to fight your homework." I forced a laugh. "Just tired." It was the truth, but not the full truth. I was tired of overthinking. Tired of missing someone who suddenly felt miles away. Liam shrugged and walked upstairs, humming some song under his breath. The floorboards creaked as he entered his room. I didn't think much of it. Why would I? He was my brother. A few minutes later, my phone buzzed. Finally, I thought, Ava must have replied. But the notification wasn't a message. It was a location alert. Ava left school. Strange. She had said she was staying late for group study. Why would she leave early? And why didn't she tell me? I tried calling her. It went straight to voicemail. Maybe her phone died? Or maybe she was just busy. I kept giving myself excuses. Giving her excuses. 20 minutes passed. Then 30. And my gut twisted harder with every minute. I pushed my chair back and stood up. Something felt wrong. Not suspicious, just wrong in that instinctive, primal way you can't explain. I walked upstairs, heading toward Liam's room to ask if he'd heard from Ava. She and Liam weren't close or anything, but sometimes she texted him about events or school stuff if I wasn't answering. Nothing weird. The hallway was mostly dark, except for the faint strip of light shining under Liam's door. I lifted a hand to knock. But then I froze. I heard a voice. A female voice. Low, soft, like a whisper. Ava's voice. I stepped closer, heart pounding so loudly I wondered if they could hear it from inside. "I miss you," Ava's voice said, barely audible. "Miss who?" A man's voice responded. Liam's voice. "You know he'll find out eventually." My stomach dropped. Ava replied quickly, almost breathlessly. "No, he won't. Ethan trusts us. Both of us." I stopped breathing. A cold, numb sensation washed down my spine. My fingertips tingled. My thoughts scattered into white noise. I didn't want to believe it. My brain fought the words, twisted them, tried to make them mean something else. But no matter how I tried to interpret it, there was no way around the truth. My brother. My girlfriend. Together. I stumbled backward, hitting the wall behind me. I clamped a hand over my mouth, terrified I'd make a noise. Terrified they'd know I was standing there, listening to my own heart being ripped apart. Inside, Ava giggled. She giggled. Like she was happy. Comfortable. Safe. With him. I slid down the wall, knees shaking. My breath stuttered. A sharp burn pricked the corners of my eyes, but I forced the tears back. Crying wouldn't help. Crying wouldn't make it untrue. My hands curled into fists. How long had this been going on? How many times had they lied to me? How many moments had I trusted them both, blindly, stupidly? The door suddenly clicked. Panic shot through me. I jumped to my feet and hurried into the bathroom across the hall, quietly shutting the door just as Liam opened his. Their voices continued, softer now, distorted by the walls, but I already knew enough. I leaned against the sink, staring at my reflection in the mirror. My face looked pale. My eyes were hollow. My chest felt like someone had carved out everything inside. And something deep within me snapped. Not loudly. Not violently. Just a quiet shift, like a door closing in my mind. A door that led to the version of me they thought they could break. Downstairs, the front door beeped, the security chime. Ava must have left. Liam followed shortly after, his heavy footsteps descending the stairs. I stayed in the bathroom long after they were gone. The silence was deafening. I finally lifted my head, staring into my own eyes. "You trusted them," I whispered to myself. And they lied. My voice didn't shake anymore. My hands didn't tremble. The pain was still there, but beneath it, something else was forming. Something colder. Sharper. Dangerous. The kind of emotion that doesn't explode. The kind that builds. Brick by brick. I walked out of the bathroom slowly, every step controlled. My heart still hurt, God, it hurt, but I wasn't drowning anymore. I was awakening. Because that night, I realized something crucial. A betrayal doesn't destroy you. It transforms you. And the moment I heard their voices behind that closed door, I stopped being the Ethan Walker who trusted too easily. I became the Ethan Walker they should have feared. That night felt colder than any winter Cedar Heights had ever seen, though the calendar insisted it was early spring. Maybe it wasn't the weather. Maybe it was just me. Something inside had turned numb, frozen, deadened beyond repair. After hearing Ava and Liam's voices behind that door, every breath felt like a lie I had swallowed. I spent the rest of the evening pretending nothing had happened. Pretending I didn't hear my girlfriend whisper, "I miss you," to my brother. Pretending my world hadn't shattered in the quietest, cruelest way possible. But pretending only lasts so long. Hours passed. Mom returned home. Dad walked in later, exhausted from work. The house felt normal. Laughs, footsteps, microwave humming, TV murmuring in the background, while inside me, everything screamed. By the time the clock struck 10:47 p.m., the house had fallen silent again. Except for the thunderstorm outside. Except for the storm inside me. I sat on my bed, staring at my phone's screen for the 100th time. No texts. No calls. Nothing from Ava. And that silence was the only answer I needed. Lightning flashed outside. My room lit up in a sharp white glow. I inhaled slowly, deeply, like preparing for a dive into dark water. Then my phone vibrated. "Ava. Hey, can we talk tomorrow? It's important." "Tomorrow? Important?" I almost laughed. Almost. But instead, I typed nothing. I simply stared at the message until the words blurred. She wanted to talk. She wanted to control the moment of confession. She wanted the power, the pity, the performance. Not happening. Tonight, I wasn't the Ethan she knew. Tonight, I wasn't staying silent. A sudden noise echoed from the hallway. Footsteps. Familiar. Heavy. Confident. Liam. He walked past my room without stopping, heading downstairs. Probably to grab a snack or call Ava again. Or maybe text her while pretending to check sports scores. Who knew? Who cared? All I knew was that my heart had finally had enough. I stood up. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't scared of the truth. I was ready for it. I walked down the hall quietly, each step deliberate, each breath sharper than the last. The storm outside roared as if fueling the fire growing in my chest. The kitchen light was on. Liam stood there shirtless, a towel around his neck, scrolling through his phone. His hair was still wet from the shower. He didn't hear me enter. I stood in the doorway, watching him. Watching the brother I trusted talk to the girl I loved. Watching the truth I didn't want finally take shape. Liam smirked at his screen and whispered, "Good night, babe." Not Ava. Or hey. Or see you. Babe. He only ever used that word for one person. And it wasn't supposed to be her. My fists clenched. My jaw tightened. But my voice was calm. Talking to Ava? Liam's whole body jolted. He spun around, eyes wide, guilt flashing through them before he masked it with his usual smug confidence. "Oh, Ethan. Man, you scared me. I didn't hear you." He rubbed the towel over his hair casually, pretending nothing was wrong. Pretending I was the one being weird. I stepped closer. The thunder growled behind me. "Who were you calling babe?" Liam froze just long enough for the silence to answer everything. He forced a laugh. "Dude, what? I was just messing around. Relax. MHM. I nodded slowly. "Then show me your phone." His jaw tightened. Subtle but deadly. "No," he said. "Because you're acting crazy." I stared at him, really stared at him, for the first time in my life. The brother I admired. The brother I trusted. The brother who betrayed me. "How long?" I asked quietly. Liam's mask cracked. He opened his mouth. Closed it. Looked away. "Ethan, look, it's not what you think." "How?" "Long. My voice thundered louder than the storm outside. Liam flinched. For the first time ever, he looked scared of me. A breath. Then another. He swallowed hard. A few weeks. Weeks. The number echoed in my skull like a hammer. I nodded slowly. You lied to me. Both of you. Ethan, she came to me first, Liam said quickly, stepping forward with his hands raised. She said you weren't giving her attention anymore. She said she felt lonely. My laugh cut him off. A broken laugh. The kind that bleeds. She lied to you too, I said. Congrats. You fell for it. His face twisted, guilt mixing with shame, fear, and whatever else traitors feel when caught in their own mess. Bro, I didn't mean for it to happen. I swear. Don't call me bro. Liam stepped back. Lightning crashed, flooding the kitchen with white light. The storm rattled the windows. Even nature seemed angry. You could have told me, I whispered. You could have said something. Anything. Instead, you hid it. You let me look stupid. You let me love someone who wasn't even loyal for a minute. Liam's lip trembled. He wasn't used to being confronted. He wasn't used to being wrong. She still cares about you, Ethan. She feels bad. I stared at him with hollow eyes. She felt bad? Before or after kissing you? His face turned red. I inhaled deeply and stepped even closer, so close I could see the panic rising in his pupils. You didn't just take the girl I loved, I whispered. You took my trust. The one thing I never gave easily. He didn't speak. He couldn't. You thought I'd break, I continued. You thought I'd cry. Fall apart. Stay silent. I smiled, slow, cold, terrifying even to myself. But Liam, silence isn't weakness. He swallowed again. Ethan, please don't do something stupid. I'm not. My voice was ice. I'm going to do something smart. His eyes widened. What does that mean? I stepped past him. Tomorrow, you'll understand. He grabbed my arm desperately. Ethan, wait. I pulled away without even looking back. Because in that moment, something inside me had shifted so deeply, so permanently. Even the storm felt small compared to what was happening in my chest. Tonight, their betrayal spoke. Tomorrow, my revenge would answer. The next morning felt unreal, like waking up inside someone else's life. The sky was too bright. The house was too quiet. And my heart too heavy. I dressed in silence, pulling on a gray hoodie and black jeans. My reflection in the mirror didn't look like the Ethan Walker everyone knew. My eyes weren't confused anymore. They weren't soft. They didn't ask why. They knew why. And that made them dangerous. Downstairs, Liam sat at the table, pretending to scroll through his phone, pretending to act normal. He didn't look at me, and I didn't look at him. Good. We walked out the front door together, but not together. There was a space between us that felt wider than the entire town. He walked faster than usual. I walked calmer than usual. He was running from guilt. I was walking toward truth. When we reached school, the parking lot was already buzzing with early morning chatter. Cars slammed shut, sneakers slapped pavement, and groups gathered in clusters. Laughing, gossiping, whispering. Whispering. I didn't know yet that those whispers were about to become wildfire. As soon as Liam stepped out of the car, people greeted him, smiling, fist-bumping, admiring. As soon as I stepped out, no one said a word. It was like the universe itself already knew. I could feel the tension before the first word even dropped. And then it came. A girl by the lockers, Madison, leaned in and whispered loudly to her friend. Did you hear? Liam and Ethan's girlfriend. Something's going on. My jaw clenched. Another voice followed. Ava was seen leaving practice with Liam last week. Then another. Ethan looked pissed this morning. Think he found out. More whispers spread around me like smoke. Liam. Ava cheating, brothers drama. Every syllable was gasoline poured on the flames in my chest. People didn't even bother hiding it. They looked at me, then turned back to their friends with wide eyes, whispering behind hands like I couldn't hear them. I walked down the hallway without reacting, without blinking, without giving them the satisfaction of seeing me break. Because I wasn't breaking. I was sharpening. Mia spotted me first. She jogged up, breathless, worry etched on her face. Ethan, hey. Are you okay? You look like you didn't sleep. I slept fine, I lied. She frowned. Liam's been weird. And Ava didn't even show up yet. Something's off. My chest tightened. Mia didn't know. Not yet. But before I could say anything, a familiar voice floated through the hallway. Ava. She walked in like she owned the place. Hair perfect, makeup soft, wearing Liam's old hoodie like it meant nothing. Like I meant nothing. Her eyes found mine, and for a single second, just one, guilt flashed across her face. Then she buried it under a fake, trembling smile. "Ethan," she said softly, stepping closer, "we need to talk." Ah, so this was the performance she planned. The emotional act. The fragile voice. She wanted sympathy. She wanted control. I wasn't giving her either. "Not here," I said coldly. Heads turned. People sensed something brewing. Ava reached out to touch my arm, but I stepped back. Her face fell slightly, embarrassed, defensive, but she tried again. "I never meant to hurt you," she whispered, her voice cracking deliberately. "It just happened." Wrong words. Nothing just happens behind closed doors. The whispers around us grew louder. Is this really happening? No way. She cheated with his brother? I knew it. Ava's cheeks flushed. She hated public judgment more than anything. "Can we talk privately?" she pleaded. "You made it public," I replied. "Not me." Her breath caught. It was the first time she realized the upper hand wasn't hers anymore. Liam suddenly appeared behind her, eyes darting nervously, his jaw clenched. He looked like he wanted to help her, but every step he took toward us made the crowd lean closer. He spoke quietly. "Ethan, let's not do this here." I turned slowly, meeting his eyes. "You didn't mind doing everything else here." The hallway exploded with muffled gasps, hands covering mouths, and new whispers. Faster, juicier, more vicious. Liam's face drained of color. Ava blinked rapidly, panic and humiliation creeping in. Mia stepped closer to me, her voice low. "Ethan, what did they do?" I didn't answer her. I didn't need to. Because at that moment, the hallway doors swung open, and Mr. Dawson, a close family friend and one of the most respected figures in town, walked in. He spotted me instantly. "Ethan," he called with warm familiarity. "Your father asked me to check on you. Heard something happen last night." The hallway froze. Everyone knew Mr. Dawson. Everyone respected him. Everyone listened when he spoke. Ava stiffened. Liam's breath hitched. People exchanged shocked looks. Why would someone important show up for me? Dawson placed a hand on my shoulder. "Your family's stronger than this. And so are you." Ava's face paled. Liam flinched. They both suddenly remembered the thing they always forgot. I wasn't just the quiet brother. I wasn't the background character. My family had influence. Respect. Legacy. Things Liam and Ava never understood. Things they never expected to be used against them. Whispers shifted instantly. "He came for Ethan? Wait, he's connected? So Ethan's not just a nobody?" The fire in my chest didn't burn me anymore. It fueled me. I finally turned to face Liam and Ava fully. "You chose to betray me," I said quietly, but the hallway carried every word. "And now you'll live with the consequences." Ava swallowed hard, eyes glistening. "Ethan, please." Liam took a step toward me. "We can fix this." "No," I cut him off. "You broke it. I'll finish it." Their faces fell. Everyone around us felt the shift. The moment the victim stopped being the victim. The hallway, once buzzing with gossip, became a courtroom. And they were on trial. Whispers kept spreading like wildfire, burning their reputations in real time. Liam looked at the floor. Ava looked at me like she knew she was losing something she never appreciated. And me? I walked away. Calm. Silent. Unshaken. Every step I took echoed through the hallways like warning shots. Because this wasn't the end. It was only the beginning. A beginning fueled by whispers, and the fire they lit inside my chest. Caleb Harmon had always been known for one thing at Ridgewood High, his calmness. Teachers praised it. Friends depended on it. And his girlfriend, Emily, used to say it was her favorite thing about him. "Nothing shakes you," she'd say, smiling like it was a compliment. But now Caleb finally understood something. Nothing shakes you, until everything breaks you. And once a calm boy breaks, he doesn't become loud. He becomes dangerous. Monday morning arrived like a slow-moving storm. Caleb walked through the school gates with the same blank expression he'd worn for days, his hood up, earphones in, steps steady. To anyone watching, he looked normal. But inside him, there was a silence so sharp it could cut through steel. He replayed the scene from the night before, Emily's voice trembling, Jacob's mouth twisting into excuses, their eyes begging him to understand, forgive, forget. As if the betrayal hadn't burned him alive. That moment had carved something into him. Something permanent. He was done being the quiet, easygoing brother. He was done being the guy people crossed without consequence. People always say, "Watch out for the loud ones." But they're wrong. It's the quiet ones. The patient ones. The ones who walk away without a word. Those are the ones you should fear. Caleb didn't head to his first class. He headed to the library. Because the calm boy wasn't planning revenge out of rage. He was planning it the same way a surgeon preps for a delicate operation. Precise, controlled, step by step. He sat in the corner table, opened his notebook, and drew 2 names at the top. Emily Carter. Jacob Harmon. Under it, he wrote one word. Consequences. He wasn't going to scream. He wasn't going to fight. He wasn't going to cry. He was going to make sure they understood what they destroyed. And when he was done, they'd wish he had yelled instead. Emily spotted him 3rd period. When she saw him sitting alone under the bleachers during gym, her breath caught. He wasn't glaring. He wasn't crying. He wasn't avoiding her. He just sat there calm. Too calm. A calmness that felt like an earthquake waiting under the surface. She took a few steps toward him. Caleb, we need to talk. He looked up. No anger. No softness. Just a cold politeness that made her voice tremble. We already talked, he said. I listened. That's why we need to talk again. I didn't mean for any of this to. He tilted his head slightly, studying her like she was a stranger. You didn't mean to betray me with my own brother? She froze. His voice was steady. Too steady. It was the kind of tone that made guilt feel heavier than any shout could. Caleb, please. I still care about you. I swear. But not enough to stay loyal, he replied. He stood up, the bleachers creaking as he stepped out from under them. She reached for his arm. He didn't pull away harshly. He simply moved out of reach, like she was an inconvenience. Caleb, you're scaring me. He paused mid-step. Good. That single word knocked the air out of her. Because she knew, this wasn't the Caleb she knew. This was the boy she created by breaking him. Next was Jacob. During lunch, Jacob walked toward Caleb with that familiar mix of guilt and forced confidence. Bro, can we talk? We're talking. Jacob swallowed. I messed up, okay? I admit it. But you're my brother. We shouldn't let a girl come between us. Caleb raised an eyebrow. Is that what this is to you? 2 guys fighting over a girl? Well, yeah. I mean, it's stupid. Caleb leaned forward slightly. You think betrayal is stupid? Jacob blinked. You think using me, lying to me, sneaking around with Emily behind my back is something we can just get over? Jacob's throat tightened. I don't know what you want me to say. Caleb smiled. A soft smile. A terrifying smile. I don't want you to say anything. Jacob looked relieved. Until Caleb added. I want you to remember. Remember what? Jacob asked. How calm I was, Caleb whispered. Jacob's blood went cold. That calm isn't forgiveness, Caleb continued. It's warning. Jacob opened his mouth to reply, but Caleb was already walking away, leaving his brother staring after him with a sinking feeling. For the first time, Jacob realized something. His brother wasn't the same person anymore. And the worst part, Jacob didn't know what that meant, or what Caleb was planning. The whispers followed Caleb everywhere. Did you hear? His girlfriend cheated with his brother. That's messed up. He looked so calm, though. Yet too calm. But Caleb didn't care. Not about the pity, not about the gossip, not about the eyes tracking him down hallways. Because while the school talked, Caleb acted. Quietly. Efficiently. Every move was calculated. He joined a study group Jacob desperately needed to pass his senior year, and then influenced the group to drop him. He volunteered for a project Emily relied on him for, and then replaced her with someone else. He offered help to a teacher who adored Emily, and gently suggested she needed space to focus on her grades. Emily's grades slipped. Jacob's confidence cracked. People who once admired them began questioning them. Not because Caleb slandered them. No, he just stepped away, took his support with him, and the void he left exposed the truth about who they really were. Caleb didn't destroy them. He simply let them destroy themselves. By Friday, Emily was in tears in the girls' restroom. Her friends tried to comfort her, but she couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong, deeply wrong. Jacob fought with 2 teammates, yelling at them for whispering. He was unraveling faster than he could mask it. Both of them kept searching for Caleb. Wanting something. Needing something. A chance. A reaction. A fight. A conversation. Anything. But Caleb stayed calm. Unreachable. Untouchable. And that was worse than any revenge they'd imagined. Because silence, real silence, doesn't heal. It haunts. On Friday afternoon, Caleb stood in the school courtyard as the sun dipped behind the buildings. He set his backpack down, closed his notebook, took a slow breath. He wasn't finished. Not even close. But he had become something new. Something sharp. Something they never saw coming. The calm boy. The quiet one. The one who never fought, never yelled, never snapped. He was gone. And the boy standing in his place? He was the one Emily and Jacob should have feared from the start. Because his revenge wouldn't be loud. It would be deliberate. Precise. Inevitable. Just like the calm before a storm. A storm they triggered. A storm they would regret. Forever. The truth has a strange way of surfacing. It doesn't arrive gently. It doesn't knock. It doesn't ask permission. It kicks the door open. It burns everything it touches. And it always shows up at the worst possible moment. Emily and Jacob had been crumbling all week under Caleb's silence. But nothing prepared them for the moment the truth finally hit. And when it did, it hit harder than any scream, punch, or argument ever could. Friday night. Ridgewood High's annual fall charity banquet. It was the kind of event the whole town showed up for. Parents in formal wear, teachers gathered around tables, students pretending to be on their best behavior. Emily stood near the punch table, her hands shaking so badly she had to grip the edge of the tablecloth. She scanned the room for the 100th time. Where was Caleb? She hadn't seen him all day. And the more he avoided her, the more she realized something. Forgiveness wasn't coming. Closure wasn't coming. Nothing was coming. Except consequences. Her breath hitched when she finally spotted him. Not sulking. Not angry. Not broken. He walked into the banquet hall in a sharp black suit, calm as a midnight lake, shoulders squared, eyes unreadable. Nothing about him looked like the boy she betrayed. He looked stronger. Colder. Untouchable. And that terrified her. Jacob saw him too. His stomach twisted. Caleb didn't look like his brother tonight. He looked like someone who had made a decision. A final decision. Jacob swallowed hard and walked toward him. Caleb. Please, man. Can we talk? Caleb didn't slow his steps. Later. But. Later, Caleb repeated, voice even, steady, unbothered. And that scared Jacob more than if Caleb had thrown a punch. Because the brother he betrayed used to avoid conflict. Now he walked through it like it didn't matter. The entire school noticed the tension. Whispers spread across the banquet hall like wildfire. Caleb's here. He still hasn't talked to them. Emily looks like she's about to cry again. His brother's losing it. Everyone knew the story by now. Everyone knew what Emily and Jacob did. But tonight, for the first time, they were about to see something new. What happens when the quiet one finally decides to speak? The principal stepped onto the stage. Before we begin our award announcements, she said, I'd like to invite our student council representatives to the stage. Caleb's name was called. So were Emily's and Jacob's. The air thickened. This wasn't just an awkward moment. This was fate setting the stage. The three of them walked up, Caleb calm, Emily trembling, Jacob sweating through his collar. Caleb stood center stage. Emily stood to his left. Jacob to his right. A perfect triangle of history, hurt, and betrayal. The principal handed Caleb the microphone. You're up first, she smiled. A few words about the upcoming charity initiatives? Caleb nodded slowly. But he didn't start talking about charity. He looked at the crowd, a silent, watching ocean of eyes. Then he looked at Emily. Then Jacob. And he spoke. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Just clearly. Calmly. Everyone here has heard the rumors about me, he began. A ripple went through the room. Emily's heart stopped. Jacob's breath froze. Caleb continued. They say I've been quiet this week. That I've been avoiding certain people. His eyes flicked toward Emily and Jacob. And that's true. The room was dead silent. Caleb's voice stayed steady, steady enough to break them both. I've been quiet, he said, because I didn't want revenge fueled by anger. Emily's knees nearly gave out. Jacob's jaw clenched. But sometimes, Caleb continued, silence tells the truth louder than shouting ever could. Emily's eyes filled with tears. He wasn't yelling. He wasn't humiliating them. He was telling the truth. And somehow, that hurt worst of all. Caleb took a breath. People make mistakes, he said. But betrayal, especially from the two people I trusted most, that isn't a mistake. Jacob's face drained of color. Emily covered her mouth, shaking. Caleb wasn't exposing details. He wasn't naming them. He didn't need to. Everyone already knew. Caleb lifted his chin. So tonight, I just want to say one thing. He looked at both of them. His girlfriend. His brother. The two people who broke him. I'm done letting other people decide my worth. Emily gasped. Jacob flinched. I'm done carrying people who wouldn't carry me. I'm done protecting people who didn't protect me. And I'm done loving people who couldn't stay loyal. The air crackled. Because this wasn't revenge. This was truth. Raw. Undeniable. Final. Caleb handed the microphone back to the principal. No theatrics. No dramatic exit. He simply walked off the stage. And that's when everything shattered. Emily burst into tears, loud, uncontrollable, public. Her friends rushed to her, trying to pull her off stage, but she couldn't move. Her legs gave out. Why would he say that? Why would he say that here? She sobbed. But everyone knew why. Sometimes silence hurts. But truth? Truth destroys. Jacob followed Caleb backstage, fury and panic tangled together. What the hell was that? You embarrassed us in front of everyone. Caleb turned to him, expression calm. I told the truth. You didn't have to say it like that. I didn't use your name, Caleb replied. If you feel exposed, that's on you. Jacob stumbled back. Because nothing stings worse than a truth you can't deny. Emily approached next, mascara streaked down her cheeks. Caleb, please. I'm begging you. I can't handle this. Caleb met her eyes. And I couldn't handle what you did, he said softly. She flinched like he'd slapped her. I never wanted to hurt you, she whispered. But you did. Emily broke again. Is there anything I can do to fix this? Caleb stepped past her. No, he said simply. Some things don't get fixed. They get learned. Emily collapsed into her friend's arms, crying harder than she had all week. Because that was the moment she realized. He wasn't coming back. Not to her. Not to Jacob. Not to who he used to be. Caleb's silence broke tonight. And the truth? It hit them harder than any revenge plan ever could. As Caleb walked out of the banquet hall into the cool night air, he felt the weight on his chest finally lift. For the first time in weeks, he could breathe. The storm inside him wasn't gone, but it had direction now. He didn't need to hurt them. He didn't need to expose them. He didn't need to destroy them. They were already doing that themselves. All he needed to do was finish what he started. And that final part? That was coming. Because revenge isn't emotional. Revenge isn't angry. Revenge is cold. Measured. Quiet. And tomorrow, it would be final. The morning after the banquet was too quiet. A kind of quiet that comes after a storm. Not peaceful. Just heavy. Caleb walked into Ridgewood High with steady steps and a clear mind. Today wasn't about screaming. Not about exposing anyone. Today was about ending everything perfectly. Not loud. Not messy. Not emotional. Just final. The first thing he saw when he stepped into the hallway was Emily. Or what was left of her. Her eyes were red and swollen. Her hands trembled as she tried to pull her hair into a ponytail. But the hair tie kept slipping. She looked like she hadn't slept. Not even for a minute. Students whispered as she walked by. Not with curiosity like before, but with judgment. Is it true she cheated on Caleb and lied about it? I heard she begged him backstage last night. She deserves it, honestly. Emily hugged her books tighter, shrinking under the weight of their stares. When her eyes met Caleb's, something inside her cracked. She stepped in front of him, voice soft, broken. Caleb, please can we talk? Somewhere private. Caleb didn't stop walking. No. Her breath hitched. But No, Emily. Whatever you want to say, I don't need to hear it. She stood frozen as he walked past her. His tone wasn't cruel. It wasn't angry. It was final. And that hurt her more than any insult ever could. Jacob was waiting near the lockers. His jaw was tense, his fists clenched, his eyes bloodshot. But when he saw Caleb coming, all the fury in his face collapsed into something else. Fear. Caleb, he said quietly, we need to fix this. We're brothers. No, Caleb replied. We were brothers. Jacob swallowed hard. You're gonna ruin me, he whispered. I haven't done anything, Caleb said. That's the best part. You're destroying yourself. Jacob stepped forward, voice breaking. Please. I made a mistake. I messed up. I know I did. But don't throw away our relationship over one moment. One moment. Caleb repeated, eyebrows lifting. You didn't cheat with a stranger, Jacob. You betrayed me. Jacob's breath stuttered. And you didn't just take my girlfriend. Caleb stepped closer, his voice low, calm. You took my trust. Jacob dropped his gaze. And that silence. That shame. That helplessness. That was the true revenge. During third period, something unexpected happened. The loudspeaker crackled. Caleb Walker, please come to the principal's office. Students murmured. Oh, Is this about last night? No way they'd punish him. Caleb walked to the office without fear. When he entered, he found Principal Harris and Mr. Dawson, the old family friend who knew everything Caleb had been hiding. They both looked oddly proud. Caleb, Principal Harris began, I read your speech from last night. Caleb froze. Speech? He didn't write any speech. She continued. And after reviewing some of your academic records, recommendation letters from Mr. Dawson, and your portfolio, I've made a decision. Mr. Dawson smiled. You're being offered an early leadership placement in the Regional Youth Council. Caleb's eyes widened. That's the program for state representatives trainees, right? Exactly, Principal Harris said. It's one of the highest honors a student in this area can receive. Caleb exhaled slowly. This was bigger than Ridgewood High. Bigger than Emily. Bigger than Jacob. This was his future. Rising. While they fell. When Caleb left the office, the world felt different. Not lighter. Not brighter. Just his again. He walked back into the hallway and found Emily surrounded by whispers. Her eyes darted around desperately, like she was drowning in rumors. She saw Caleb, hope flickering in her expression. Caleb, where were you? In the office. Did something happen? Yes. Her breath caught. What? He looked her dead in the eyes. I got accepted into the Regional Youth Council. Students nearby gasped. Emily stared at him like she'd been stabbed. You got in? Yes. Her eyes filled instantly. Caleb, that's amazing. I'm so proud of you. No, he said softly. You don't get to be proud of me anymore. A single tear slipped down her cheek. Because that was when she realized. She lost him forever. Not because of his anger, but because of his growth. He outgrew her. He outgrew the pain. He outgrew the past. And she stayed behind. Jacob approached a few minutes later, breath unsteady. What did they call you for? Caleb gave him the same answer. I got in. Jacob's face collapsed in slow motion. You're leaving Ridgewood? Soon. Jacob blinked, lost. So you're just walking away? Just like that? Yes. But you don't get to leave me with this mess. Everyone hates me. They keep talking about what I did. You're my brother. Help me fix this. Caleb looked at him, expression unreadable. You broke it, he said quietly. You fix it. Jacob grabbed Caleb's sleeve, voice desperate. Caleb, please. I need you. Caleb pulled his arm away calmly. No. You needed me before you chose to betray me. Jacob stepped back like he'd been hit. Because Caleb didn't scream. He didn't threaten. He didn't humiliate him. He just walked away. And that silence, that peace, that total absence of anger, was the real punishment. After school, Caleb stepped outside into the cool afternoon air. Mia joined him, smiling gently. So, is it over? She asked. Caleb nodded. It's over. What about Emily and Jacob? Caleb shrugged. They'll deal with whatever comes. It's not my problem anymore. Mia studied him for a moment. You know, she said quietly, you didn't destroy them. I know. You didn't expose anything. I know. You didn't get revenge. Caleb turned to her, a slow, calm smile forming. That's where you're wrong. She raised an eyebrow. My revenge, he said softly, was walking away. Not fighting. Not yelling. Not proving anything. Just leaving them to face everything they created. Mia breathed out slowly. That's cold, she said. It's complete, Caleb corrected. They walked together down the steps toward the parking lot. Behind him, the school buzzed with rumors. Emily crying behind the gym. Jacob smashing a locker in frustration. Students talking about Caleb's acceptance program. He didn't look back. Not even once. Because the best revenge isn't loud, isn't dramatic, isn't destructive. The best revenge is becoming someone they can never reach again. And Caleb Walker was already gone.